Ayahuasca Tales. The Secret of the Shaman. Once upon a time, there was an old man living at the edge of a forest. In the local village, the man was famous for his wisdom and kindness. He welcomed everyone, both children and adults. Regaled with tea, the man would bring them into the forest to pick mushrooms and berries and offer his wisdom and advice. People noticed that after visiting the man, they would transform and become happy and radiating with positive energy. Eventually, people noticed that someone was cured of a disease after visiting the old man. Another person was able to gather a rich harvest, and another person got a charming and skillful wife. The villagers had seen many miracles at the hands of the old man, so they began to call him a shaman. Rumors about the shaman had spread. People said that he heals, predicts the future, and works miracles. One day, an ambitious young man named John came to him and said, "I have heard that you are a strong shaman, and that you have special knowledge. Teach me your wisdom, as I want to become a shaman too." The shaman took him into the forest. They stood in front of a tree. There was a woody liana vine twined around the tree. The old man said, "Ayahuasca will teach you everything." John looked at the vine and found nothing unusual about it. He thought that the old man was joking with him, but when he turned to him, the old man disappeared. "The old fool has fooled me," he thought, cursing, and began to look for a way out of the forest. He returned home tired and angry, and told the whole village that the evil old man had almost killed him, led him into a dark forest, and left him there to die. The villagers did not believe him, but decided to check his words. Everyone who went to the shaman and asked to be an apprentice was brought into the forest and shown the woody vine. But then the shaman would disappear without a trace. People began to say that the old man was completely out of his mind, and that he calls himself a shaman and a healer, but he really is just crazy. The people stopped visiting him, and over the years completely forgot about him. John grew up, matured, got married, and raised children. The children left for the big cities. His wife became ill and quarrelsome, and the house fell into despair. His strength began to leave him, and sad thoughts overcame him. "What is the purpose of my life? No one needs me. This life is just sadness." And John finally plunged into despair. Nothing in his life pleased him. He went wherever his legs carried, and he thought about his meaningless life so much that he didn't even notice how he wandered into the forest. Suddenly, something seemed to push him. He looked up, and the old man was standing in front of him. He hasn't changed a bit over the years, and his face was shining with good nature. It seems the old man really is a shaman, John thought. He looks as if so many years didn't pass since we last met. Not like me. A wreck. He remembered how in his youth he wanted to discover the world and develop his hidden abilities. And suddenly he realized that he had committed an utterly stupid mistake in the past. He didn't even try to understand what kind of riddle the shaman had asked him, and even said nasty things about him to the villagers. He asked the old man for forgiveness, but the shaman pointed at the liana vine. "Don't apologize to me, but to her." John took a closer look at the tree, turned around to ask the shaman what kind of vine it was, but the old man had already disappeared. "Well, this time I'll solve your riddle." He sat down under the tree and began to think. He thought for a long time until he fell asleep. He dreams that he is young again, and the shaman is standing next to him. "Ayahuasca will teach you everything," said the shaman, and points to the vine. John came closely to her and said, "Teach me how to live a sensible life, so as not to regret and not to suffer." A lady of unbelievable beauty, shining with rays of light, came out of the liana vine. "I'll show you everything I know. Just follow me step by step and watch carefully, but do not say a single word. If you fall behind, you won't find the way back by yourself." She flew up into the air and said, "Follow me!" I can't fly! No, shut up. Not a single word. John pushed off and flew after her. They flew into his native village to his house. He found that the walls were transparent and that he was sitting at the table and his wife was fussing around cooking dinner. He couldn't recognize the words, as if everything was in fast forward. He began to look at his life, and soon he became incredibly bored. Kitchen, bedroom, yard, neighbors, all the same day by day. From this angle, his whole life could fit in 3 days, and then again, and again, and again. That's enough. You've learned that lesson. They flew to the next house. He began to look closely, and it's the same there. Day after day, the same and the same. They flew all over the neighborhood, and everywhere he saw the same picture. The houses are different, and the speed is different. Someone is working in the field, someone is working at the factory, someone is both in the field and at the factory. Someone laughs every day, someone is sad, someone both laughs and cries. Everyone has their own movie, but in fast forward. Everything repeats and repeats and repeats. They flew to the edge of the forest, and there they found a house where he hadn't been before. He saw a young man inside the house who was drawing something. He took a closer look and saw an unusual creature in the picture. It looked like either a dragon or a dinosaur, and it gained volume and reality with each moment. It looked like his drawing was coming to life. The young man stopped drawing and began to build something. John couldn't recognize what exactly it was. The mechanism is unknown and incomprehensible. Not a car nor a helicopter, but flying in the air. The young man brought the mechanism to his brothers and started to explain something. John began to follow his every move very carefully, hoping to figure out what kind of wonderful mechanism he had made, and more importantly, how he did it. The lady touched his shoulder. It's time to move on. John's words were jumping in his head. He was terribly curious about what kind of young man he had met, whose life did not seem boring. The lady answered his unspoken question. An explorer of the universe lives here. They flew into the forest. They landed on the ground and saw glowing trees that John had never seen before. Everything around was extremely bright. He seemed to be in another world. And between the trees there was an extraordinary beast, who made strange sounds as if it was playing a loud violin, but such a piercing loud sound that they were unable to hear. Where am I? Who is it? John asked. And then he realized that he was not seeing trees, but blades of grass, and the extraordinary beast was just an ordinary bug, whom he had never paid attention to. We have just started the journey, but it's time for you to wake up. We'll continue later. John heard loud rhythmic beats, seemingly coming from everywhere. Louder, louder, the space was about to be torn apart. Oh, it's the beating of my heart. And he woke up. What will happen to John in the next episodes? Will he become a shaman? Do you want to know what's next? Write down your comments, like and subscribe to our channel so as not to miss the new series of the Ayahuasca Tales. This video was created by the Home of Ayahuasca team, retreats in Peru with ayahuasca and other native plants from the jungle. You can find more information about ayahuasca on our website, homeofayahuasca.com, as well as on our Instagram and Facebook pages.